What is up, everybody? As always, thank you for joining me, your boy JG, sick as a dog. And the WWE does it for Roman Reigns, but here we do it for the world. But as always, thank you for joining me for another episode of What Did We Learn from Tuesday Night Smackdown? Coming off the heels of a very good, probably the best show of the year Survivor Series. That if you go back and watch the Raw video, actually makes sense of the logic behind the booking at Survivor Series. But after Raw once again falls flat on its face, man, was SmackDown any better? And to be honest with you, I don't know if I was just feeling the drag from Monday Night Raw, but I didn't really think SmackDown delivered this week as well. And I think they even had a better opportunity. I thought they were booked very in reverse tonight. Show kicks off with Charlotte Flair, and then we end with Daniel Bryan. For me personally, I think you should have booked it the exact opposite. You have Daniel come out, and then you have Charlotte finish the show. Because no offense, but yo, the whole Charlotte and Becky thing, man, right now, that is the firest thing ever. And after Charlotte's actions at Survivor Series, which I thought were amazing. That was probably one of my favorite moments of the night of Survivor Series, was watching her heel turn, man. It's absolutely glorious. And even though the fans were cheering her tonight, don't be fooled. She is a heel. She is best as a heel. She is the queen bee, as Nicki Minaj would say. Or is that Cardi B? One of them. I don't know. But as they would say, she's the queen bee. She's the queen bee. She's the queen bitch, man. And that's where Charlotte belongs best. So, WWE just throwing things in reverse and doing things the wrong way. You're saying the thing that I'm most anticipating the answer to for the end of the show, and not the beginning. And the second most important thing for the beginning, for me at least, and in this case it would have been Daniel Bryan. But tonight, SmackDown kicks off with Charlotte Flair coming out, talking about her actions at Survivor Series. Once again, I absolutely loved everything Charlotte Flair did at Survivor Series, beating down Ronda Rousey. Loved it. I think the WWE blew a huge moment where they could have turned Ronda Rousey a heel as well. If not that, they could have just injured her and took her out of action and let that women's championship finally start having some movement again, instead of just sitting there stagnant on her. Because now you don't have her at her peak height. But with that being said, we're not here to talk about Monday Night Raw stuff. We're here to talk about, at this moment, Charlotte Flair. So we get Charlotte Flair talking about how she beat down Ronda Rousey, and she's proud of it. She's proud of herself. She represents all her girls back in the locker room, and she represents the SmackDown champion. Freaking love this, man. Then we get Paige coming down, and instead of Paige going in on Charlotte Flair for her actions against Ronda Rousey, Charlotte said she's not upset at all. Matter of fact, the SmackDown universe and her agree, they loved it. And, yo, it's once again, you're separating the brand and reminding us, Charlotte did it for the brand, but not only that, she did it maybe like Becky would have done it. But the thing that Paige is upset with is that Charlotte laid her hand on 5 different officials. So due to that, Charlotte's going to receive, and at first I'm thinking a suspension. And honestly, I thought a suspension at this point would have been good, because it would have kept the heat going on her. It would have made you want to see her more, because you didn't get her this week. But instead, Paige finds her $100,000 to a Flair. That ain't nothing, man. They limousine riding, jet flying, son of a guns, man. Then out come the Iconics. And I got to say, this was probably one of the worst Iconic intros I have seen in a long time. If you guys don't know, I actually love the Iconics. I love them. Billy and Peyton, I love them both. I think everything they do is hilarious. They actually usually get chuckles out of me. Tonight, it just really fell flat. Then Charlotte, being the queen bee she is right now, having this toot, she wants a match with one of the Iconics. And they gonna be the next Ronda Rousey. So she takes on Billie Kay. Billie Kay gets smashed. This was a squash match. Charlotte's victorious. But Charlotte's in the mood to continue her evening inside the ring. So she lets Peyton know to get in. Crazily enough, Peyton's the one who actually puts up the better match. This goes on for a little bit. But it ends when Billie Kay comes in and interferes with the match, giving Charlotte the win by DQ. And this is where things get strange. And I'm going to kind of talk about this for a second. So after the match, we get Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, double team in Charlotte. They go to get a chair. The ring, not the ring announcer, the bell dude, he pulls the chair back and is not going to give it to him. This leads to Charlotte Flair double spearing them both and literally beating the Jesus out of both of them. So I was thinking, if you go back, I don't know, I want to say like maybe a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, in one of the reviews, I actually talk about this. So, and then what I talked about is, but I used Stephanie McMahon as the example. And I said this was going to happen on Raw so she could take on Ronda. But with Paige coming out tonight and only fining Charlotte $100,000 instead of suspending her, left me a little suspicious. What if that was a direct order from Paige that regardless of what takes place, you are not to allow the Iconics to use any kind of weapons on Charlotte Flair? That's why he retracts and pulls it back. But this would continue with the storyline, because then we could see another match between Becky and Charlotte where Becky walks away once again victorious. This continues to stew in Charlotte's brain, and we continue to see the psychological destruction of Charlotte Flair, leading her to make a backroom deal with Paige. So almost like she's a Seth Rollins when he joined the Authority. No, I don't want to use Seth Rollins. Almost like The Rock when he joined the Authority. I think this would actually segment good, put them both in their back in their natural positions. Obviously, even though they're trying to portray Becky Lynch as this heel still for some reason, which she's not. She is Stone Cold Becky Lynch in every damn way of the word. And I do not mean that as any kind of bad way, and I do not mean any disrespect that she's not doing her own thing. She's taking it to a whole new level, because I never thought I would see this out of the women's division, to be honest. I mean, there's women I'm hyped about, like when Asuka came up to the card, man. You guys don't know I'm a huge Asuka dude. There's lots of lots of females I'm hyped about. But at this current point in time, there is no other professional wrestler that I am more excited about than Becky Lynch. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. She is the man. Holy cow. But once again, as I'm saying, she could stay in her babyface role. We can get Charlotte Flair back to a heel figure. But not only that, she'd be working with Paige on a back scene scenario, and it would kind of bring her back to that I'm too good for everybody feel, which for me, that's the Charlotte I miss. So I'm expecting big things from the WWE. Now, with that being said, do they always come through for us? No. But in this situation, I really think they're going to do this right. Because, Jesus, you fell into a gold mine, man. You literally set yourself up with a gold mine by giving Charlotte the belt instead of Becky at SummerSlam. So, I thought it was a good way to start the show, but I actually thought this should have been the close to the entire show for the evening. Then, we get an episode of Miz TV special guest Shane O'Mac come out talking about Survivor Series. How, even though they weren't dominant, you know what? They're still the best in the world from the World Cup. Awesome. But Shane questions Miz's intentions. Like, usually the interviewer will ask the interview, or the interviewee will ask the interviewer. Sorry, the interviewer will ask the interviewee a question. He's like, I do have a question for you. It's kind of hard for me to say. And I'm sitting there on the edge of my chair, and I'm like, what is he going to say? He asked them to be tag team partners. This leads to a match with Miz and the Shane versus the Bryans. No, we're not talking about Daniel Bryan. We're talking about Dan, was it Dan and Bruce? I don't even know their names. Some local crap. The craziest part is, with Shane being so exhausted, Miz hops in. He's going to take him on himself. And the Bryans upset the Miz. Jesus Christ. For a minute, I felt like I was watching the 1-2-3 Kid versus Razor Ramon. That's how big of an upset it was. So tonight, the Bryans get the huge upset over the Miz and Shane. And for me personally, what is this going to build to? Is this going to be some kind of a breakdown that leads to a Miz and Shane match at TLC? Guess we'll have to wait. Thought tonight, they felt really flat with this. So I thought you could have had Miz come out and talked a lot of trash for Shane just being gassed completely through the match at the Survivor Series. But we don't get that, man. We just get a crappy episode of Miz TV, and then we move on in the show. Then we get the New Day's Turkey Day celebration for thanks feasting fight or something. I don't know. Thanks feasting fight. Thanks fisting fight. Something like that. And they're upset, man. They come out, they're talking, they're upset. They're upset their win at Survivor Series didn't count, or else it would have been 6-1. They're the only team that won a match from Smackdown for the night. This leads to Sheamus and Cesaro coming out in the big show, coming out from the back, trying to downtrot the New Day. New Day once again reminding them that, hey, you guys lost this Survivor Series. We actually got the dub. So this leads to a match. And the New Day's victorious. And it's a little crazy. So we get some turkey usage. Cesaro gets the cranberry sauce. He gets thrown in the cranberry sauce. We get Sheamus getting hit twice with a turkey. Once by freaking Kofi off the top rope jumping out. And that actually sends Sheamus through a table. Then inside the ring, we get it again with Big E landing a big turkey punch, getting the 1-2-3. New Day victorious. After the match, Cesaro tries to come in and take care of the New Day, but this only leads to him literally getting every side dish thrown on him or at him. So in the long run, you got Sheamus, who's been hit by a turkey twice, going through a table one of the times. You got Cesaro covered in literally stuffing or dressing, however you guys say it. Cranberry sauce, mashed potatoes, gravy, everything's covered. Sheamus. It's just kind of one of them things that we get for every Thanksgiving, it seems like recently, from the New Day. Every holiday we get something from. So, I mean, it was nothing out of the ordinary here. Then we get Mandy Rose versus Sonya Deville. And the question is, after Evolution, can these two women continue to cooperate and function as a tag team? If you didn't watch Evolution, there's a point where Sonya's on the outside of the ropes on the apron, and Mandy Rose actually pushes her off. Instead of just making sure she got back in like a normal team partner would do, she pushes her off. So I actually think this is going to lead to something between these two ladies in the future, and at this current point in time, I'm kind of looking forward to it. But we get Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville versus the Empress Glow. The Empress Glow, if you don't know, is Naomi and Asuka. But Empress Glow walks away victorious. And I mean, honestly, this is only going to lead to more problems for Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. So, I mean, we are literally watching this tag team breakup in front of our eyes. And to be honest, I think it's the perfect time, because I think somehow you need to get Sonya to where Ronda is, and I think Mandy needs to do her own thing, because right now she's really, really hot, and I just don't think Sonya's picked up enough steam to be left alone. She should go to some kind of a stable, and I think it should be based around MMA. With her MMA background, the Four Horsewomen's MMA background, I think that would be a perfect fit for all of them. Then we get Daniel Bryan explaining his actions last week on SmackDown and his actions at Survivor Series. And I gotta say, he started out really flat with this, but then he gets to a point where he talks about how he needed Brock Lesnar to beat the weakness out of him. And I thought that's when the whole promo itself started really coming together and forming and making us understand where Bryan's head at, that he's no longer at the place where he cares about what the fans think. Right now, he has one dream, that's to be the WWE champion forever. And that's all he's focused on, and do whatever it takes to get there. Now, with that being said, since I did not do a Survivor Series review, I'm going to talk about it for a second. I'm actually probably one of the only people out there that really didn't enjoy the Brock Lesnar match, the Brock Lesnar-Daniel Bryan match. It wasn't for me. The match itself, I thought it was done good. It's just I didn't enjoy it. I don't like the story that was being told, and honestly, I didn't like the upper hands that Daniel got. I understand the nut kick, but some of the other stuff just it wasn't believable to me. And after the destruction we've seen Braun do to everybody else, or Brock do to everybody else, I thought to be honest, you actually hurt Brock. You actually hurt Brock moving forward more than you helped him by putting him in this match with Daniel Bryan. I do like the way that Daniel Bryan seems as though he's going to take this from here, where he's just going to use it as a stepping stone to make him even that much stronger and know what he has to do to continue to retain that title. So, like I said, I thought it started out flat, finished strong, so good job there. Then we get kind of a scary match for me. We get our main event of the evening, Rey Mysterio versus Randy Orton. And there's a point in this match where Randy hits RKO out of nowhere. No biggie, he carries Rey Mysterio's lifeless body back in the ring, puts him in there, hits another RKO, pins him 1, 2, 3. You know, Rey's one of the best at playing dead. So, Randy Orton proceeds to take the chair and put it around his neck and rip off the mask. And the thing about the mask rip is, I've seen Rey's face, and I've seen it again tonight. I know only half of it, but I've still seen part of it. That's the thing, you're messed up. Also, when he puts the chair around his neck, he's got the bottom mount pointing out, and then he throws him into the post like we've seen about 1,000,000 times before. But when he does it, man, it just looks like Rey don't even know what's going on. He's like, just hold your face to the chair so you don't get destroyed. And I thought they kind of just fell flat with this. I thought there was more despicable things Randy Orton could do at this time. Like, why don't you have... No, we'll save that for a little later day. But I mean, I thought you could have did a lot better than that with this. I definitely needed this. It's nice. We actually are having a good week, I think, for fantasy for me. I might get my first win, hopefully. I know, I'm looking at it now. Let's see. Asuka got a dub. Randy got a dub. AOP got beat down. Braun got the dub technically by disqualification. So, yeah, I mean, I should have had a really good week for fantasy, but I guess we'll find out when me and Dean drops them scores on our Facebook chat. But with that being said, guys, I don't know, man. For me, SmackDown just kind of fell flat tonight. I think it's just been a flat week of wrestling. I know you can't expect a lot coming out of the pay-per-views, but I thought they really built a lot of good steam coming out of Survivor Series, and I just think this week really was a setback for both shows. But with that being said, we will definitely be back on Wednesday. Or sorry, you guys will probably see it Thursday with our This Week's in Wrestling, as well as there will shockingly enough be a Madden video out on YouTube if you guys want to go check that out. It's under the KliqpodGaming. But with that being said, guys, as always, thank you guys for sitting through this whole entire thing for me. God, it felt good to actually be able to just drop the review how I wanted instead of trying to stay more positive. Because sometimes your boy just gets stressed out when I got to hold these things in. But with that being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here because I got things to do. But as always, please take names, kick ass, and peace.